All right, we just got an E-Class that dropped off, an E350, I think. I haven't seen it yet, it just came on a tow truck. Where a previous shop diagnosed it as, well, they weren't able to fully diagnose it. He wasn't able to read a code or something. It sounds like transmission. The customer says he was just driving on the interstate. It slowly began to lose propulsion, like you step on the gas and it doesn't go very much at all. And then it got to the point where you would just step on the gas and it would just not, like the RPMs would go up, but the car wouldn't move forward. So I'm gonna try to pull it in now. Hopefully it drives under its own power, at least to not have to push it in. But let's get it in and I'll see what's going on with it. Trouble starting a bit. Don't know what that's about. That's the only warning though. Service is almost due. A couple more months. All right, let's see what happens. Oh, you can hear it. I don't know if the mic's picking it up or not, but it's moving fine. Okay, let's see about forward. It's kind of moving. You can hear it like growling internally. All right, we are moving. At least I don't have to push it, you know? That's all I really care about. Oh. It clicked into park there. You know, and it sounds rough. Let me leave it running. Yeah, it almost seems like it'd be a drive shaft. I wonder if this thing is all-wheel drive or not. The front drive shafts on these brakes sometimes. But usually you'd hear it like clunking around like crazy. Like it wouldn't be that quiet. Yeah, it's all-wheel drive. That would be something if it just needs a drive shaft. All right, what is this noise coming from up here now? Okay, so here it started, and I don't hear that squeaking noise I heard from inside, so I wonder if that's only when it's in gear. Oh, never mind, I'm starting to hear it. Well, never mind. It's gotta just be one of these pulley bearings going out. I don't know if you can pick that up, that little chirping. But the belt's right on the edge of this tensioner pulley too. You can see how close to the edge it's riding. Whenever these tensioners get weak, the pulley like sags off center. So it makes the belt ride off center. So then like the belt will press funny on like all the other bearings because it's trying to pull off center. So I wonder if that's what happened. I'll probably relieve tension on that tensioner manually and then just feel these by hand and see if I can tell which bearing is going out. Or yeah, well, I mean which pulley bearing is going out. Other than that, this oil cooler is leaking a lot of oil. If you can tell it leaking externally, then you know it might be leaking internally. Let me turn the car off now that I know what I'm doing. Oh, you can smell it. The oil burning off. So you have coolant flowing through this thing and oil. So there's internal passages for coolant and oil inside there. And there's leak paths built into it so that it leaks externally on purpose so that you can see that it's leaking. So if it's leaking externally, then it's definitely leaking internally, but you don't know if the fluid's mixed or not. Let me see if I can get a good angle so you can see just how much oil is on this thing. You see all that? Hopefully. All down the front of the engine. All leaking from this seam in between this block and this housing right here, this seam. But that's a telltale sign that you're about to have cross-contamination internally between your coolant and oil. Oh, and this coolant reservoir is super brittle. It's cracking apart. You can see how yellow that edge is there. And you can see the black plastic is crumbling apart. These get super, super brittle with time. You see that? You can just barely poke it with your fingernail and it just crumbles apart. I would definitely replace that like pretty soon. I mean, I wouldn't feel safe driving that because that could rupture at any time. And then of course that's all your coolant. But here, let's see if, hopefully there's nothing milky in here looking, because then that means you got oil in the coolant. Now it looks pretty good so far. So it's savable as long as you replace this guy before it starts leaking internally. I see a EverStart battery in there. It's been having trouble starting a lot. I'll probably leave it on the battery charger here while I work on it to try to get that charged up a bit, because it seems like it's barely started the past couple of times. Here, let me take off this intake manifold here and look at the, I mean not intake manifold, but this air filter housing. The intake manifold underneath has these plastic rods that break all the time. Let me see if those are intact. Make sure that's all good. Okay, got the intake off, the intake air filter housing at least. And these hoses are starting to crack on the bottom. You can see they're breaking apart pretty good. These are the air filter, like intake ducts that go from here into the air filter housing. Just as they bake with heat over time, every 10-ish years or so, they start to break down. You can see that one is, and this one's breaking down. So as this plastic crumbles apart, it gets into your air filter housing. Okay, so what I'm really here for is this intake manifold, and it's very oily. Yeah, it seems to be leaking a good bit. You do have a little bit of oil that naturally travels through the engine, but this is a good chunk leaking out. It's almost not even worth checking this rod because it would need an intake replacement anyways. But that's the rod down there. Let me see if I can poke it with a screwdriver or something and see if it's broken off or not. Right there. No, it's not. That's sturdy. If it was broken off, it'd be wobbling back and forth. But those break all the time. Everything else looks good except it just being so oily. It's not a terrible leak, but it is right in like the middle of the valley of the engine, so I'm sure it burns off a lot. That may have been what I was smelling more so than the oil coming from the oil filter housing. Let's see, everything else from the top looks good. I wonder if that's what that cap was from that I found laying right here, was a power steering fluid bottle. Because this isn't the OEM power steering fluid, and it's got a power steering malfunction light on. Let me go over anything else though, so I can put the intake back on and then start it up. That's pretty oily. This tube here coming out of that black cover, that's the centrifuge cover. That's pretty oily. I'll be able to see if that's truly leaking from the bottom though. This wiring harness somehow isn't clipped onto the side of the alternator like it's supposed to be. Oh yeah, I was gonna test these pulleys. Let me do that now too. Yeah, so all these drive belt components are pretty well worn out. You'd probably just do the package on this if I were to sell it. I would do the belt, obviously, the tensioner, and both of these idler pulleys. You can see you've got some belt rubber coming off on the back of this one. It just seems okay, not loose or anything. Spins freely, right? This one does not. You can hear it. Whatever that's about. I'm sure that's where that sound is coming from. But that bearing is shot on the inside of this. So yeah, I would replace the drive belt components and get it back going. All the actual components feel good. Water pump and alternator and everything. I do want to know, I might hook the diagnostic computer up just to see what that code is, just out of curiosity. It's not in here to be diagnosed for the power steering issue, but I'm kind of wondering what that is. Maybe it'll be something easy. It looks like he's already tried filling up the fluid, so if I could fix it for him for something stupid like an unplugged sensor or whatever, that'd be cool. All right, let me get this belt back on, the intake back on, and I'm gonna check the power steering fluid level with the car on. Absolutely nothing. All right, so I'm gonna top that up for one, and then lift it up and start with the under vehicle inspection and see if I can figure out what's wrong with this transmission issue or whatever it's gonna turn out to be. I was just checking the tire pressure spec so that I can adjust the tire pressure once I get it in the air, and noticed that the fuel cap little tether strap, oh, is obviously very brittle. The rubber of this strap is supposed to be attached here to the gas cap so that it can't roll away. Anyways, not very important at all. Just wanted to mention it. I'll probably quote that out anyways. Those break every, gosh, I don't know, probably 10 years or so. Like 10-year-old cars, you see that on a lot. This is a 2010, so yeah, seems about right. Okay, so got it up and got all the undershields off. This front one was missing 2 bolts. I do have extra screws, but this one is missing because the little clip nut here isn't on. I don't have spare clip nuts. I'm gonna get some at some point because they're always missing. But these undershield screws, I keep a couple spares anyways. Let me go ahead and put it with this undershield so I don't forget. But this is the front one. This little tab here is supposed to be what locates it, but it's broken now. It was just jammed in there. And this one too wasn't in place. And then this is the middle undershield. Both of these tabs are supposed to be what holds this thing in place. That one's bent down and this one's bent so far down it's broken as well. So the previous installer must have not understood the concept of those. They were all in the right order though. A lot of times people put like the middle one on first or the front one, second one, third one or something like that. But the middle one always goes on last. Every single Mercedes without exception. It's always the middle undershield and there's always 3 of them. Anyways, so I'm just gonna start on the suspension here and look it all over, just doing like the general inspection. You can see these bushings have a little bit of tears in them. Yeah, but not too bad. All the ball joints look good. None of these are busted. Oh, just kidding. The steering tie rod ball joint's busted. In at least 2 places there, you can see it. Oh, the sway bar end links. Those boosts are busted. Oh, the upper one is too. That one's really bad. Leaking out all the grease from there. So that ball joint's gonna fail at some point. Both of these are messed up. Yeah, that boot's torn. It'd probably just need a full front suspension rebuild if you wanted to address this stuff. Everything that moves on the suspension basically is past its lifespan, other than these bushings. But these control arms, if I'm not mistaken, of course, you know, the ball joint's built into them and it comes with bushings. So it'd be new front control arms, outer tie rods with those boots, and the sway bar end links. Let's check these struts. The McPherson strut, so just check those for any strut leaks or anything. Don't see anything with the struts. Now these axles are looking pretty bad. This one looks to be, yeah, okay, so this one is an OEM axle, but the outer boots definitely failed. That joint's definitely failed. You can see how much grease is slinging around. And this one does not seem to be Mercedes at all. They don't rust like that typically here in Tennessee anyways. This outer boot's failed. And this inner joint, I touched this a minute ago, but like, I hope the camera does that justice. But that's a lot of movement as opposed to this one. That's even more than I like to see, honestly, but that barely moves. You can hear it more than you can see. I can feel it, but this one is like, that's something majorly wrong inside there. Oh, what's majorly wrong is it's not pressed into the differential. I wonder if this is the right axle. Not right, I mean like correct axle, but I also mean right because it's the right side of the car. You know, oh, that's what it is. Hold on. This is the front drive shaft I still haven't looked at yet. Now that looks fine. These fail a lot. This is the front drive shaft, and this drive shaft U-joint fails This oil pan's been replaced. But anyways, this drive shaft is good. It's there and connected. But this axle isn't even in the differential, so that's where all the power loss is coming from. Because if you have a decent understanding of how this stuff works, maybe not internal differential workings is kind of a more advanced thing, I guess, for most people that aren't in the car world. But sort of the power flows to where there's the least amount of resistance. So if you ever see like an older car that's in the snow or in mud or whatever, and it's just got one tire spinning, but it might be rear wheel drive, and you would think both rear wheels should be spinning. Well, if that tire's in ice or in mud or whatever, then that has the least amount of resistance. That's just where the power flows to, because it's easier to spin. You would have to know how the inside of a differential works to fully understand that. But anyways, without getting too technical, just doing an inspection here, that's definitely where the power would be going. And when I say that, I mean like whenever the power comes out of the engine, out of the main shaft, into the transmission, and it's going to spin the gears inside this transfer case, and it's going to spin both the rear drive shaft that goes to the rear wheels and the front drive shaft that goes to the front wheels. Well, now it's going to be spinning this one, except the differential is going to be spinning, but this axle is not going to be spinning. So then this wheel isn't going to be spinning. So then the car is not going to be moving forward because there's no propulsion. I hope this is making sense. But that's definitely what it is. That axle's not in there. I guess maybe I could try to pop it back in and just confirm. I'm also going to scan codes just to see if there's anything inside the transmission or anything like that. But I doubt it. That axle's not even inside the differential. Because you should be able to, either one, it's in park, so it should be spinning that wheel here like this. See how I'm spinning this wheel here and that one's turning? Because it spins this axle, and that axle spins this axle, and that axle spins this wheel. This wheel, you spin it, and nothing happens because it's not connected to anything else. Like the rotation ends here. But if it was in neutral, then this drive shaft would be spinning either way. As you can see, it's not moving. So nothing's moving when I move this wheel. So, okay, so that explains it. That explains why it felt like a broken drive shaft. That explains why it grinds when we go into park. Okay, so yeah. Okay, and then the power steering issue. We've got, I wonder why this oil pan's been replaced. I don't mean to keep getting distracted. It is a genuine Mercedes oil pan, so that's good to see. This would have been a really big job. All-wheel drive. It's a universal sealant, and they use way too much of it, I see, up there, because so much of it squeezed out. But that's all right, I guess, as long as it didn't squeeze out on the inside of the engine and come apart. All the bolts look to be in the right place, which is rare to see. And of course, you know, you have a differential fluid leak here because the axle's not in. I wonder how much fluid's been lost. I did see this undershield's really wet. It's all shiny with oil residue. So I hope this differential's okay at least. It is making a pretty horrific whining sound. So it might need a differential as well. Yeah, okay, so moving on. I say all the bolts are in place. We've got one bracket here. There's no bolt there that holds those brackets in. They were sort of laying on top of the steering rack. Okay, what I was gonna say 5 minutes ago. This is the wire that goes to the torque sensor on the power steering gear here. This guy. And you can see, for one, it's not routed correctly. I don't know exactly the routing of this thing, but it's not below all this, for one. This is just the sheathing, obviously. It's not the actual wire, it's not that thick. So there's a wire on the inside of this. But as you can see, there's not. There's no wire. Oh, there it is. There's the end of the wire. And the other end's probably up in there. So that wire is broken. Broken off. So you can see where all, okay, so this is, oh, it's supposed to be, oh man, that just broke off in my hands. I just barely touched it. I mean, I didn't even touch it. I was just moving the wire and the plastic connector broke off there. So, it would need a new connector, for one. supposed to be 2 wires, I see. So it'd just be this little length of a harness. It would plug in from there to there and then actually route it correctly. So that's what the power steering issue is about. This tire has an abnormal wear pattern on the inside edge. It's good tread life, but oh, probably because all the suspension's worn out. I was gonna say recommend an alignment, but I would not. I would replace all the suspension, and then of course, whenever you take off the control arms, you have to readjust the alignment after that. So it would come with the repair of all the suspension. But yeah, tread life looks good on those. And yeah, that drive shaft looks good. The rear main seal looks good. Totally dry back there. Back of the engine, all that looks good. Okay, yeah, that centrifuge cover is leaking oil. I saw from up top. See how that oil coming out of the back of that? At the back of this, that's the back of the cylinder head. So that centrifuge cover is leaking a pretty good bit of oil. Oh, that's why they replaced the oil pan. Because it's all coming together now. This car's been through it. All right, so on this type of setup on this engine, you have the axle. So here's the differential, right? Like where the drive shaft plugs into. Okay, so the axles come out of this, like the right axle that's not in there, comes out this way, and the other axle comes out this way, but you can see the engine oil pan is here. So they run the axle through the oil pan. You see there's the axle shaft, that black shaft coming into it. There's a bearing there that supports it, and there's a little snap ring. You can see that snap ring. So the axle is supposed to simply slide out of that shaft that goes to the oil pan, but they rarely do. So you'll be hitting it with a hammer relatively aggressively, and it will break the bearing out of the oil pan. So you're supposed to take both shafts out together, and then you can put it on a bench vise or something like that, and separate them off the car, and then clean out the rust and, you know, apply like anti-seize on the splines and put it all back together smoothly. But I 100% guarantee someone just hammered that out until it broke the oil pan where that bearing is. So, all right. So this has had front suspension or front axle work done already. I just don't know, because this is so then I wonder if both axles were replaced at some point. And then I just don't know why this one would be a genuine Mercedes one and this one would be an aftermarket one that either doesn't fit or is coming out. It might not have a snap ring either, because there is a snap ring that's supposed to retain it inside the differential. But regardless, that's what that's about. The back of the transfer case here looks like it's starting to get a little wet with residual oil. You can see around in here. It looks like that transmission mount's maybe been replaced at some point. See the motor mounts? The motor mounts look kind of new too. I wonder if they replaced those at some point. It feels pretty stiff, but you can't really test drive the car to feel it because it barely moves. And that rubber disc here, these tear all the time, but that one looks good. Exhaust sounds good, no rattles there at all. Let's see what the back looks like. This is that rear rubber disc that connects the drive shaft to the rear differential. It looks good, don't see any cracking coming from that at all. These rear axles look good. Axle boots, all that looks good. That's about normal, right? No movement, no play. Oh, the subframe is breaking apart. This is they did have a recall on these. I don't know if it applies to this chassis or not, but you can see the subframe starting to rust apart pretty bad. Getting a couple holes in it. Oh yeah, that's getting pretty bad. You don't want that tearing apart because that's what all the rear suspension attaches to. I'll see if this is covered and has that warranty extension on it. If it does, that'd be cool because it'd be free. But then if not, I guess I quote one out. Let's see. Okay, as far as all the rear suspension bushings, all this stuff looks good back here. Yeah, I don't see any issues. The rear shock looks good. It's not leaking oil or nothing. And all these control arms. Yeah, they all look good. Everything looks good. With the rear suspension. Let me make sure I check these brakes. I did glance at them, but yeah, that's looking good. Yeah, that's looking good. These front brakes are probably, I don't know, 40, 50% life left on them. Yeah, definitely 50% at least. And then the rears. That inside one looks kind of low. That outside one looks healthy though, 30, 40%. Tire tread's good. Good on the back as well. Yeah, the whole back of the car looks pretty good. It's just front suspension work and some oil leaks and fixing whatever's up with this, with the front drivetrain. I am gonna get a little mirror just to look at these inside pads. I can't get a good sight on them and they look kind of low. But with the outside ones being pretty thick, I kind of doubt it. So I'm just gonna get like a little mirror to stick in there to look, to be sure. Okay, so I'm gonna go back through this now and piece it all together and see what everything comes out to be. Mainly, of course, what he was actually in here for, which is the transmission issue. It turned out to be the axle. So, and you know, in the grand scheme of things, nothing's like, it's not that far away from being back to like 100%. It's not like the car's been neglected to the point to where like it needs an engine or something like that, or it's just pieced together with a bunch of like shoddy repairs or anything, which it hasn't been. It's just all worn out stuff. Like, it's not, the only thing that's broken on the car per se is this axle, whatever happened with it. And if it would have been a genuine Mercedes axle, that wouldn't happen anyways. Like, the car would be still driving around 100% okay. Just 2 oil leaks and worn out front suspension and stuff, and like a couple tiny little things like that gas cap strap, and like there's one little parking light that's out or whatever. But it's really not that far away from being back to 100% good. And it's a 2010, 130,000 miles, so it's made it this far. So it might be worth an investment to get it back, you know, to 100% good and healthier and everything. But regardless, I'm going to price it all out now, get this video put together so I can send it to him so we can see all the details and see what we can do about getting this back on the road safely.